Alright, so I'm back with Kaiser Redo as we get closer and closer to New England rising up. Anyway, compromise with America. There has been a break in the chilly relations with the American government since their demand for debt repayment. They have approached us with an offer, economic assistance now, and an agreement to increase trade with the Entente in exchange for the rest of the debt being delayed until the home isles are retaken, which was, sides point out, the original deal to begin with. It might be a way to restore goodwill with our southern neighbors and even help them. There's some suggestion that there's no point in shoveling our limited funds into a bottomless pit. America is lost, they say, and we should look to our own first. We agree to the compromise, which we lose political power, but increase our relations, or they are on their own, which we get more war support and political power, but they lose trade relations. I guess we'll agree to the compromise. Mau Mau, The Jackals of Kenya. A recent book from the famous American author F. Scott Fitzgerald hit shelves today. Fitzgerald had published a new piece after returning from a vacation in West Africa that he embarked on in 1935. This middling piece of literature talks about a small yet vicious bush war between the German government of Kenya and the Mau Mau. It goes on about Mau Mau tactics and ideals, their leader Hussein Obama, and Obama's personal involvement in the rebellion, which critics state are quite dubious. Overall, this book isn't a big seller and just adds to the bad reputation Obama seems to have earned in the colonies. What does he think he is, a white savior? So if you don't know, F. Scott Fitzgerald, he's the guy that wrote The Great Gatsby. King Edward's Address. King Edward VIII today addressed the nations of the Entente by radio, calling on them to prepare for the coming war against the Union of Britain. All of us desire peace, he said, but at the very same time know what it is that must be done. Millions of our countrymen struggle under syndicalist tyranny, a terrible wave which threatens to drown not only the British and the French, but also the entire world. It is only with brave hearts and a sense of resolution that we move forward as one, until the day comes when our mettle shall be tested once more. We have every confidence that, on that day, our brave men and women shall prove that they are all the stronger for the trials and tribulations each of us has faced. Long live the King. So our war score goes up by 7.5%. Bennett assaults reporter. At a campaign stop in Hamilton, R.B. Bennett was aggressively questioned by a French-Canadian reporter over the Conservative plans for conscription, outright implying that the Conservatives intended to send French-Canadians into the front lines in order to eliminate their threat to Anglophone domination. Unsurprisingly, the tempestuous Bennett's response was to attack the man, causing a near riot that dominated the newspapers for days. He's willing to fight, and that's a good thing, which loses stability but gives social conservatism, or Bennett is an embarrassment, which loses stability still but gives market liberalism. I don't know. If I was the leader of a country and someone did that, I'd probably call them an embarrassment, so I'm going to go with Bennett is an embarrassment. Duplessis wins Quebec election. Coming off a campaign based on Quebec dissatisfaction with the economic downturn and the threat of national conscription, Maurice Duplessis and the Union Nationale have won a majority government in the Quebec provincial elections. Duplessis has sworn to fight any plan to enact conscription, and there are even threats of calling for a referendum on the future of Quebec and Confederation should that happen. This is a clear sign of just how serious the divisions between English Canadians and French Canadians have become, now that the split of opinion on Canada's roles in the coming war is so sharp. Modify French Anglo Texans by political power cost plus 0.20 stability minus 5%. This is not good. I probably butchered pronouncing his name. Alright, so the National Focus has created the ISAC just finished. I'm going to go with this one next, the National Research Council. The National Research Council was founded during the Weltkrieg to advise the Canadian government on science and research. By providing the organization with additional funding and support, we can expand their technology base to the benefit of both industry and military. Gain one research slot. Rise of the Nationalist Party. The main competition for the Liberals among those opposed to conscription appears to have become the Nationalist Party of Canada, led by Henry Herbert Stevens. The Nationalist Party's platform began as Republican and anti-monarchist, but has evolved into a stance which would see Canada pulled out of the Entente entirely. Stevens is expected to win in his British Columbia riding, but so far has been unable to gain traction in Quebec, where the party could do more than eat at the Liberal domination there. Interesting. Change in popularity and national populism by 5%. Edmund Allenby dies. General Allenby died today in his exile at Ottawa, aged 75. Retired since 1925, he was mostly known as the Commander-in-Chief of the British Expeditionary Forces in the Middle East. After achieving major victories thanks to Arab help, such as taking Jerusalem, he was forced to withdraw as the Veldt went bad for England. By honoring him with state funerals, King Edward VIII wants to show his desire for revenge. A war hero decided today. Political power minus 20. Federal election of 1936. The moment has come, with the country heading to the polls to decide between the Liberals under William Lyon Mackenzie King and the Conservatives under R.B. Bennett. Either way, it is certain the election will be close, and should there be a prospect of minority government, it seems likely the role of kingmaker would be given to the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation, who have already declared they would support a liberal government if it came down to that. So we can go with the Liberals win the slim majority where they go up by 20%. The Conservatives narrowly win the day where the Social Conservatism goes up by 20%. Or the Liberals and the CCF form the government where market liberalism goes up by 10% and social democracy goes up by 10%. I'm thinking about going for one of the socialist paths for New England, so I think I want to go with the social democracy one. So the Liberals and the CCF form the government. So either way, we still have, I think, William Lyon King in power. Yeah, William Lyon Mackenzie King. King Edward congratulates Mackenzie King. The King has taken to the airways to voice his support for the winners of the recent election, urging all Canadians to accept the democratic process and announce his full support of Mackenzie King and his coalition government of the Liberals and the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation. The people have spoken, and the new government is to be one of compromise, he stated. I hope and believe it was the right choice, and that together we can move forward and find the right path for Canada and for the Empire in the years to come. We are all in this together. Gain base stability plus 5%. So the National Research Council focus finished on going with this one next as it gets closer to helping with the Great Depression. Create the IEDC. Suggestions have been made to form an Imperial Economic Development Council to expand the industrial strength of the Entente by having its members work together on economic matters. Funded by Canada, the strongest remaining member of the Empire, the IEDC would serve to help us meet the challenges ahead, so we give 50 political power in an event that the IEDC is created. Even though this doesn't directly affect us as Canada, it might affect us later as New England, because if you don't know, in this time, in Kaiser Redo, they had Bill Haywood as a starting CSA leader instead of Jack Reed. Anyway, Bill Haywood elected president of the USA. Despite the massive instability rampant in the nation ever since the Great Depression in 1925, the presidential elections went forward and the voting results are clear. Bill Haywood of the Socialist Party of America is the 31st president of the United States. Bill Haywood turned into a savvy political operator during his time in Russia and is a dedicated proponent of syndicalism. The stance has made him many enemies in American society, but the Association of Trade Unions that he leads remains strong. The AFP already contests the election results, so let's see what this jumped up union man can do. So I'm pretty sure this is basically guaranteed that MacArthur's going to overthrow him and that the Civil War is going to happen. But I'm pretty sure in our timeline he was already dead by this point, but I'm not sure about that. The IEDC is created. The Imperial Economic Development Council has been formed in order to foster greater economic cooperation within the Entente. At the Canadian government's discretion, members of the Entente may be invited into the IEDC, where they will be prompted, once a year, to make an investment of political power into its pool, an investment that gains them access to the IEDC's advisors. That pooled political power is spent by the head of the IEDC to invest back into its members, an excellent initiative. We get the National Spirit head of the IEDC, which grants consumers good factories and unlocks the IEDC decisions, but also takes away political power because it's adding it to the pool. But also, while we're here, we're going to go for the next national focus: open federal relief camps. The Great Depression has not released its hold upon us yet. We still have hordes of unemployed men across the country, living in poverty or turning to crime. Our best answer is to gather these people together in economic relief camps. There they will receive a wage and food to eat, and they can be put to use across the country as a ready labor force. This is going to modify the Great Depression by removing or giving consumers good factories, increasing construction speed and factory output, and also giving us a national spirit economic relief camps, which grants construction speed by 10% and a research bonus for construction technology. I want to go check out these new national spirit as well. Heavy IEDC, consumer goods factories minus 5%. Okay, so it doesn't have a description to it. I was hoping it did, but oh well. Alright, since this open federal relief camps focus finished, I want to go for economic recovery next, but we have to go for these ones first about the rails. So CN rail expansion, so what does it say? It'll unlock a decision to build Crown Corporation Sherbrooke, Halifax, and Montcalm, which is Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec, and one others also get infrastructure. Anyway, rail networks are the arteries of the nation of Canada, and none more so than the state-run Canadian National Railway. Expanding this network can only strengthen the nation, and it will surely prove crucial should we need to perform wartime supply and troops transport across the nation. Yeah, that sounds good. So I forgot to read about this when the focus finished, but we got the Spirit Economic Relief Camps. Construction speed plus 10%. Call them labor camps if you wish, but these camps exist to provide unemployed men a job, a place to live, and food to eat. The conditions in the camps notwithstanding, this is far better than they could have hoped for than if they were all out on the streets without any job at all. Which, I mean, I guess that's true. Suggestions from Walter Guinness and the Commission. Walter Guinness and the rest of the Commission have come up with a suggestion. Yeah, this should be with a suggestion, not a suggestions. Anyway, have come up with a suggestion to help the situation within the West Indies. And it is a 2-year fund to the West Indies to help them along a new multitude of projects to help the region. While this will take a toll on their income, it could serve significantly towards helping calm down the rampant socialist movements within the West Indies, along with helping them develop their industries along the way. So we can increase our funding in the region, which gains West Indies monetary compensation, which lessens their political power for 730 days, and they get that event. Or surely it's another responsibility where we just lose 5% stability and they get a different event. I mean, I want to go with increase our funding in the region, I guess. We also got this spirit to go with the last event we just had pop up, but West Indies monetary compensation, daily political power gain minus 0.05. The revelation of what was discovered in the Moyne report led to a recommendation by the Commission to increase the amount of funding going to the West Indies, which we have decided to respect. It will be removed February 11th, 1939. Alright, so I'm going to go with this focus next, the CP rail expansion. It was only the promise of a transcontinental rail network that brought the western provinces into the Dominion. Maintaining and expanding this network will help ensure our continued control over the region, and will serve us should we ever require a large-scale threat between both seas. So it unlocks the Canadian Pacific Railway Company, and it also gives the decision to build crown corporations in Vancouver and Calgary, or to build arms factories in Winnipeg. And it also adds infrastructure in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, and 2 others. Anyway, sounds like a good plan to me. Alright, here we go. It's finally happened. The Second American Civil War starting on March 27, 1927. Anyway, the Second American Civil War begins. For years, America has been in chaos, but now was the final straw. Well, no, they declared war yesterday, but anyway. America is interrupted into a crisis that is not to be soon recovered. Civil War has broken out, the second one in American history. America Burns is an American unit under Huey Long, Bill Haywood's newly established Combined Citizens of America, William Murray's Constitutional American Republic, the remnants of the federal government, and the last fashion democracy in the Pacific States of America go head-to-head for. Okay, they didn't mention the Western Command Center in there, which is basically aligned with the USA, but they're in the West. Anyway, the giant is asleep for good. Quote of the day. America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter or lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. Abraham Lincoln. I think he was the one that also said that a house divided cannot stand upon itself. And we also bypass this focus. The Americans at war. The unthinkable has occurred. The United States has devolved into another civil war. One that could tear apart their nation, and may very well tear apart ours. This focus will eventually be automatically bypassed and unblock the other focuses. That's how we get to the New England thing. Anyway, America in chaos. Chaos has overtaken our neighbors to the south, and, even worse, the Socialist Party of America has proclaimed a stronghold right off our southern border. A number of the northeastern governors in New England, the states beset by syndicalist militia violence, have formally asked the Canadian government to intervene. Clearly, they feel the federal government is incapable of the task, though some of our ministers feel this might be seen by some of the factions less as intervention and more as aggression. They say the matter should be debated in Parliament before any action is taken. For New England, at least, that might not be quick enough to save them. So let's move into New England. So we get even the occupation of New England and the Royal Navy seizes Puerto Rico. But hold off on the Native intervention, doesn't say it would do anything. But anyway, moving to New England. Alright. The occupation of New England. The outbreak of civil war in America has left the New England region only lightly defended and vulnerable to occupation. If we strike quickly and seize the region, we could close a weak point on our eastern flank and strengthen our position against any invasion from a hostile southern power. All but abandoned by their government, we anticipate our New England cousins will welcome our intervention. Seize New England, or it is too risky. I'm going to seize New England. Alright, so I wanted to show the map off before ending this part. See, we took over the New England states like New York and up, except we don't have Long Island, I think that is, or whatever part has New York City. Anyway, then Hawaii and Alaska also broke off, but anyway, that's about all the time I have for this part, so bye for now.